So what are you going to make time for today? That's my question. What are you going to make time for this week? If you can't make time for it today, what are you going to commit to make time for this week? I actually was quite surprised that I managed to get, I had two things I believe on my plan for this weekend, two major things. And one was clean up my dining room, which still had stuff on the table from goodness knows when, and also to tidy up the floor in the dining room where I had put stuff that had come out of my I call it my office, but it's really my in-house storage locker. Do any of you have one of those? That's what I should call it, the in-house storage locker. By the way, for those people who happen to have apartments or something and also rent a storage locker, have a look at the math. Yeah, do the arithmetic on this one, because I've always said to people, you know, it probably is as cheap for you to get an apartment with an extra bedroom and use it as a storage locker as it is to go down and rent a storage locker. Just a thought. And I've always said that, you know, even if it's one room where you have to shut the door and keep it closed, you know. I think I'm going to put a sign on mine. I like that, the in-house storage locker. Huh. Yep. I got a number of them actually. Different sizes. There's the storage room downstairs in which I keep stuff, and then there's the garage, and then there's the office. Yep, so I really do have quite a few in-house storage lockers. And if I had a bigger house, I'd probably have more. But I do also want to tell you, in terms of, do I have enough time? I am making a point at the moment of making time every weekend to clean up something. I don't care if it's a drawer or a shelf. I try and do it early in the weekend, like I don't work on Friday, so I try and do it Friday afternoons between the two broadcasts, because then I hardly notice that I'm doing it because I'm in such a rush. But you know, this is the whole thing, that I realize that I let this get out of control, and it's time to get it back under control. Now, most people are fortunate enough, or unfortunate enough, to move fairly regularly. I believe the average number of years that people live in a dwelling is 5. Now, that some of you move much more regularly than that, and some of you have been in your houses for a lifetime, as have I. So do you understand that in the natural scheme of things, if you're moving every, let's say, 5 years, you get to declutter every 5 years. But for those of us who stay in the same place for a long time, we don't necessarily have reasons to declutter. And especially those people, I think, who are attached to things, have sentimental roots to a lot of things. And I'm really, I had one such experience when one or two, when I was cleaning up under the sink, yeah, or basin, whatever you call it, and I'm going, I can't believe I had a collection of these, you know, the one or two that I use every day, but a collection. I'm not going to spoil it by telling you what it was, but it was interesting. And you go, of all the things to have a collection of, this was not what I expected. In fact, there were a number of collections. So have a look at your life and say to yourself, what am I going to make time for? Not what don't I have time for? What am I going to make time for? And from my experience, a little every week has made quite a significant difference in my house already. I'm slowly working my way around every shelf in my kitchen. And I am halving I think I've halved every shelf that I've touched so far, which has been surprising to me. So that's your challenge for the day. What are you going to make time for? Now, I'd really appreciate it if you comment on that below, because there's nothing that inspires people more than other people doing things. So if people read that, you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z, they might just go, wow, well, if she can do it, why don't I do something as well? And make it something small. Just commit to doing something small. I can always remember being on a management type course once, and what they did is they had everybody commit to doing something. And it was interesting, the number of people who committed to ripping a room apart and doing this, and this. And I remember I said, I commit to doing, and it was, by comparison, quite small. And everybody rolled their eyes at me because I gave a goal that was not as big as theirs. But the interesting thing was, when it came to reckoning, when everybody had to give a report back on what they had done, guess how many people failed to achieve their goal? And I'm pleased to tell you that when I stood up for my reckoning, if you like, I said not only did I achieve exactly what I said I was going to do, but I also achieved in that I did this, and this over and above that. Now, which one of those two makes you feel good? Is it to fail to do something, or is it to succeed and overachieve? And it was funny because there were people in the group, they're inclined to work you in a group of people. There were people in my group who said, I judged you when you came up with that goal. And I went, yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm a great believer in, reach for the moon or shoot for the moon and reach the stars. I understand that. But in other words, set really big goals, because if you achieve 3/4 of them, you'll have done really well. So I always do that. I quite honestly wasn't sure that I would be able to complete the task that I set myself this weekend. So in terms of my energy levels and in terms of my motivation and everything else, doing what I did actually felt like it was a big stretch for me. So, but even if I had achieved half of it, I would have been happy. But I made time to finish it. That was the interesting thing, that halfway through I wanted to stop, and I went, no, I'm not stopping. I am continuing it until it's done. And that's discipline. Ugh. Hate that word. All right, make time for something today, everybody. If you haven't subscribed and want some daily doses of hopefully some helpful hints and motivation, subscribe into the corner below. Now, I've worked this out. Let me think which corner it is. I think it's that one. I'm going to get this right one day. Yesterday, or a couple of days ago, I tried to do this and I got it wrong. I think it's this corner. There's a little picture of me, another one, right there. And if you click on there, it'll take you, it'll open up another tab for you. And so it won't spoil what you're doing. And it'll open up a tab that'll allow you to subscribe. And don't forget to join us on Facebook, which we use as our sort of bulletin board. I put up news about different viewers, plus I also put up any fun things that I find that I think will amuse you guys. Remember to look after one another, but most of all remember to look after yourself. This is Dear Mama Sal saying make time for something. Bye bye for now.